Well, when Ashton and myself talked about the people we wanted to have on the programme, we talked about John, we actually discussed what pieces of music we thought they would like to play. And in fact, both Ashton and myself thought that the obvious choice for John here would be Boris the Spider. But you chose Twist and Shout. How come?
It's the only other song I can sing, was that. I sung Boris the Spider about 10,000 times, and it starts to wear away all the time.
Boris
You've got
the
a spider. You've got a
Spider.
spider, haven't you?
Yeah.
Boris?
Joe Walsh gave it to me as a birthday present, and it's a female, so I couldn't call it Boris, so I called it
what?
Doris. It's a Mexican red-kneed tarantula.
You've had other weird pets as well, I mean, on tour. You and Mooney were well known for the...
Yeah, we used to get...
Was it Eric? The lobster? What did you call it, lobster?
We used to get very homesick for animals on tour. You get to a hotel room and there was nothing to stroke except we'd go out and buy pets. I mean, especially me and Keith, we used to share a room because, you know, we did it cheap way then. We couldn't afford a suite each. So we used to go out to pet shops and like buy piranhas. Stuff like that. Keep them in the bath and feed them on goldfish and stuff like that. And one day we were in Boston Airport and we saw these lobsters. You could actually pick up a lobster. They put it on ice in a little carrying case. You could choose the lobster of your choice and take it home to dinner, because a lot of people commuted back and forth. We were going to St. Louis, so we thought, right, we call this lobster Louis, and we'll keep it as a pet. We always used to lose our room keys anyway, so they had these little wooden pegs in the claws to keep them shut. So we used to pull the peg out and just let it sit in the sink on ice, holding our room key. So we knew where it was.
What did Louis do during gigs?
Well, he didn't survive more than one gig. I mean, we gave him to a chef. We started going...
Oh, he didn't actually make the whole tour?
He started going a funny colour about the second concert in St. Louis.
Yeah, I've heard a few people have been to some of your gigs have been kind of funny colour.
Funny colour, yeah.
What about, for example, like when you did all the tours in America, when a lot of people used to just hang in front of the cabinets, hang in front of the W bins. Did they get a bit of a skinful at times?
Well, we did one concert in Los Angeles where we were using speaker cabinets. You could actually walk in and out. They were so big. And a few fans crawled in there and figured like it was the best place to be because you could hear, you could get a good sound sitting inside the PA cabinet. And they actually got carried out after about the third song, with bleeding ears. I don't mean to swear.
Yet another use of penicillin. I'll tell you what I was going to say, John. In the middle of the 70s, you sort of like deemed it necessary, the same as I did and Ashton did, and a lot of other people did, form their own band outside of the main group. Was there any particular reason? Was it a frustration, or just purely you wanted to get other forms of music out?
I just wanted to see what it would be like to be a failure. Really? No.
Well, I mean, let's not bring Margaret Thatcher into this. Let's
when I played with you, that was exactly what happened, wasn't it? I remember
you played with
check
me. I mean, that was it.
I got the other day from Cell Block when you and Peter got locked up in jail.
All 14
of
us got locked up, yeah.
Yeah, I got a kite from
Montreal.
your publishing company for 47p. I mean, that's an example. What happened at that? What happened? Something weird happened.
Well, we smashed up a hotel room in Montreal. And we didn't know the French for money. So we usually paid the hotels off, like far in advance of being arrested. So it worked out okay.
Mooney had one classic actually on a tour where he was going to be in profit, wasn't he? And missed it at the end.
And he had a limousine driver that he'd been using for the whole English tour, and decided to give him a tip, so he gave him a Sony video machine as a tip. But he didn't realise that it wasn't his machine. I mean, we'd bought it for him to use on the tour. And when they deducted the video machine from his profits, he came out with about £3.70 at the end of the tour.
How important was that to you?
It cost me a lot of money, and but it helped me a lot. It made me stand at the front of the stage instead of standing at the back in the shadows, and I I learned how to control an audience and to talk to an audience and how to sing for 2 hours instead of just playing bass. So it really did me a lot of good.
On your own rehearsals for Ox, did you treat them different from Who rehearsals? I mean, were you really the front man on?
Yeah, I had to pay them.
I've got to ask, because it's a really...
Excuse me, I've got an ashtray down the bottom.
Haven't we all? A lot of punters like ask, you know, when I'm on the road, I'm sure they ask Ashton as well, you know, how do you get the gig together? How do you rehearse? I mean, yes, you used to rehearse in a weird way, mostly in different, mostly in different countries. We used to rehearse. How did the Who used to rehearse? In fact, how do you rehearse?
We usually rehearsed at Shepperton Film Studios, but we'd have like a period of 3 days at the beginning in the first week just to rehearse how to get there and to actually sort of get there on time. And we'd turn up and we'd look at the equipment and go, ooh, and just disappear to the nearest pub. And then we'd come back the next day and we'd gradually get more and more adventurous and go towards the equipment and plug in. But it's a bit unnerving.
Did you have the famous thing, like with the first time you went on stage on the first day of the tour, where you suddenly realised that you wish you'd actually rehearsed one bit a little bit more, like the whole show?
We usually get through like 5 days rehearsals and Roger says, it's just like we've never been off stage, right? And when we actually get to the first gig, we think, oh no. There's lots and lots of little mistakes that we made.
The great thing
like
about...
Pete, for example, we hadn't toured for about 3 years after the Tommy film. And Pete used to do this thing where he Won't Get Fooled Again, he'd like leap across the stage and land on his knees and slide in front of me, and it was very dramatic, you know. So he used to wear these knee pads, right? And we hadn't worked for 3 years, and he did it, and he jumped up in the air, and I saw his expression on the way down. It was like, oh, and he forgot to put them on, like, you know, whack.
Skidding across the stage.
Lots of little things like that you forget about the last tour.
It's called show business, really, I think. Yeah. That's amazing. What about you, Ashton? What about you on the road?
Well, I remember working with him. Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget it. In fact, that's what caused the slight liver problem with me.
That's good. Finally, sort of, when you're on stage, do you find that? I mean, I don't know what you're like, but when I go on, I have a bit of a mental block, and sometimes the punters can carry you through an awful lot. There's 50% of if you get a good audience, they can actually make you play a lot better. What was that? I mean, for a band like The Who that I should think must react an awful lot on the audience, does that count for an awful lot for you?
It does, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, the audience doesn't really matter that much. It's more or less the sound of the hall. Whether everything's going
What about,
right.
For example, for you? I mean, there's certain parts in the show that I think everybody waits for. I mean, whether you like it or not, you must be aware that you were the first rock and roll bass player ever to really put a bass rock solo on record on My Generation. You do it on stage, whether you like it or not. A lot of the punters, in fact, I would go as far as to say 95% of the punters who come to a gig wait to hear that. As much, in fact, as beyond everything else. Do you enjoy doing that? Do you wait for that part?
I mean,
no. I mean, I have.
The
problem is, I mean, everybody knows the solo, and unless I play it exactly the same as the record. They think I've made a mistake.
Well, I'll tell you what, as you most probably know, you do know, in fact, because we've rehearsed, obviously, during the week. We have rehearsed a few things together. And for me...
Only once,
but for me, The man here, with the solo from My Generation, the bass solo, is incredibly important. I think it's probably one of the most important elements in rock and roll music from the 70s and 80s and to carry on from. It just so happens that Ashton wrote a song called Get America, which has a perfect break for a bass solo. So I really look forward to playing and hearing Sir John Entwistle, Tony Ashton, the rest of the lads on Get America.
Please subscribe and see some of the silly things I get up to, and the musical stuff as well.